For over 150 years, plastic has improved nearly every aspect of our lives. No other material is as diverse in its properties, applications, and impact on everyday life. The Plastics Hall of Fame honors the people who have brought important solutions to our world with breakthroughs in plastics. Their contributions to the industry and our quality of life can be seen everywhere. Members of the Plastics Hall of Fame are the pioneering researchers, scholars, innovators, and designers who create materials and products that answer our society's needs. Solutions that have transformed the way we live. And these are the people leading the way in addressing issues such as sustainability and environmental responsibility. The answers will come from within the industry. Currently, more than 6 million people worldwide are employed in the plastics industry. Since the discovery of plastics, millions more have worked in the industry. Fewer than 250 have been inducted into the Plastics Hall of Fame. Our members come from all corners of the globe and represent all facets of the plastics industry. Although some of their names are recognizable, many of our inductees are less well known, but their impact on the plastics industry and the world has been profound. A limited number of individuals are admitted to the Plastics Hall of Fame every 18 months. We welcome nominations of anyone in the industry who deserves this prestigious honor. As we celebrate the accomplishments of our current and new members, we look forward to the advancements and solutions that future Plastics Hall of Fame inductees will bring to benefit the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, and the Plastics Hall of Fame members who are with us tonight, welcome. I'm Dr. Maureen Steinwell, president of the Plastics Hall of Fame and a member of class of 2015. Tonight, we will honor 17 unique individuals for their contributions to our industry. They are truly an international class representing the United States, Germany, Italy, and Japan. We now have 235 members, so that's one of the quiz questions. For those that know there's the quiz going on. We represent 10 countries, 5 Nobel Prize winners in chemistry, 1 Belgium Knight, and 1 National Medal of Science. The membership includes 64 doctors. The Plastics Hall of Fame is a not-for-profit corporation that is now 52 years old. Its strength comes from the passionate people in our global industry. These global industry people believe that their history matters. It is driven by encouraging individuals like everyone in this room. 12 volunteers sit on the board of directors, 3 officers, 3 committee chairs and vice chairs, and 3 members at large. All of our board members are here with us tonight. Altogether, the organization has 28 active volunteers and consultants. That's amazing. Yeah. Helping me on stage tonight for our induction ceremony will be our officers, our committee chairs and vice chairs of the Plastics Hall of Fame. Right now, I'd like to introduce you to Tim Wolmer, our senior vice president, and also the class of 2012. Tim?
Thanks, Maureen. I'm Tim Wolmer, and I really appreciate the attendance we have tonight. We really appreciate your support. We appreciate everybody here tonight through your presence and supporting the Hall of Fame and the Hall of Fame's mission. But before we get started, I'd like to recognize some of the Hall of Fame members here tonight. Please stand when I call your name, but please hold your applause until after all of the Hall of Fame members have been introduced. We have Dr. Pak Wing Steve Chum, class of 2006, and a board consultant. Steve, please stand. Dr. Gunther Hoyt, class of 2012. board member. Dr. Bob Malloy, class of 2012, board consultant. Hideo Tanaka, class of 2015, board member. Donna Davis, class of 2018, board member. Wiley Royce, class of 2021, a board member. Ulrich Reifenhauser, class of 2021, committee board member. Sal Monte, class of 2021, committee member. We also have Michael Maynard, the son of Godfrey Maynard, class of 2003, and Whitney Travis, daughter of Bill Carteau, class of 2015, with us tonight. And we don't want to miss any of our other members or family members, we apologize, but I'd like to acknowledge you also. Thank you for your service. We also have several nominees, and so just a quick brief on this. If a person doesn't make it through this nomination this year, actually it's an 18-month cycle, and those people that were nominated even for this gala will get carried over to the next gala automatically. So we have some nominees and finalists in our audience today, and we want to honor your recognition of you tonight. Please stand and be acknowledged. We have several other special guests with us tonight. Tonight we have some of the past NPE chairpersons in the audience, many of my friends, and I hope. Please stand and be recognized when I call your name, and please hold your applause until all have been recognized. NPE 2000, Vince Withrop. NPE 2003, Gunter Hoyt. NPE 2006, Tim Stoika. NPE 2009, Randy Pearson. NPE 2012, John Effman. NPE 2018, Glenn Anderson. NPE 2021, Tad McGuire. And this year's NPE Chair, Steve London. Thank you, gentlemen. We have several plastics members and staff on here tonight. Please stand and thank you for everything you've done to keep our industry strong. Please stand if you're a member of the plastics staff. Tonight we have several SPE past presidents with us, including myself. In addition, we have SPE staff and Plastivan educators in the audience. Please stand and be recognized. Thank you for your service to the plastics industries. Also, Plastic Pioneers Association members are also here. Please stand and thank you for your scholarships to college students and efforts to preserve the industry's historical knowledge. And last but not least, we have members of the class of 2023 class of Rising Stars and Women Who Break the Mold members. Please stand and be recognized. Thank you for your service to the industry.
Thanks, Tim. Needless to say, this is a pretty influential audience. But next up, I want to welcome Matt Seaholm. Where's Matt? There's Matt. He's the president of Plastics Industry Association to the stage. The Plastics Foundation is a premier sponsor of the Hall of Fame, and we are forever grateful for the generous support. Matt is an effective advocate for the industry and is here to say a few words and present the William Carteau Leadership Award. Thanks, Matt.
Well, good evening, and what a great way to start off NPE week. Aren't we all excited to be here? This is so long in the making, right? It's really an honor to be part of such an auspicious event with an incredible group of people. I think there are a lot of thanks that go out, and everybody that just got applauded certainly deserves it, but let's give a hand to Maureen Steinwall for all she does. Yeah, Maureen, we love collaborating with the Plastics Hall of Fame. We love supporting it. We're very proud to do so as an association, so thank you very much. But tonight, it's my great honor to present the William R. Carto Award to Mr. Tad McGuire, President of Industrial Heater Corporation. For those that know Tad, it's very appropriate that the first time I met him was on the 12th hole of the Ocean course at Kiowa Island during the PGA Championship 2021. For those that don't know, Tad's a huge golfer. But who know that less than a year later, we would both have different roles in the organization. Tad as chair of the board of directors, and of course, partially thanks to Tad, me as CEO. And come to think of it, we haven't gotten back on the Ocean course, Tad, so might do that someday. But Tad McGuire first got involved with plastics over 40 years ago, and since then has served on countless committees and boards, including as chair of NPE, and up until the end of last year, chair of the board of directors. Our industry and our association has greatly benefited from his leadership, wisdom, and steadfastness. To say that Tad has had a little bit to deal with over the course of the past few years would be an understatement. Certainly a tumultuous time during the pandemic. Tad's guidance as NPE 2021 chair helped our organization handle the delicate and unprecedented situation of having to cancel a once every 3 years global trade show. He then took over as chair of the board of directors at a time when the association was struggling a bit and needed real leadership. Tad led the board with bold action, established expectations for the Plastics Industry Association that likely had never been seen really for the entire existence of the organization. It was those expectations and his leadership that resulted in an impressive list of accomplishments during his tenure. In fact, our current chair, Mr. Jamie Clark, said of Tad's term as chair of the board, it may be the most consequential ever for the Plastics Industry Association. Tad said something to me when he offered me the job. I've repeated it many times since. I said, Matt, make no mistake about it. Our choice is an indication of how important advocacy, communication, and sustainability are, not just for the future of the association, but the industry as a whole. This was an important charge that set the course for the entire organization and will serve the plastics industry long after Tad's time as an officer is completed. You know, Tad has referred to the late, great Bill Carto not only as a friend, but as a mentor. You know, over the past 2 years, Tad really became a mentor for me. He's a sounding board, provider of perspective, a reality check, and a true partner for so much of what we've been able to do as a Plastics Industry Association. There's no doubt we are a much stronger organization today, thanks to Tad McGuire. The Bill Carto Award recognizes the qualities of unity, dedication, perseverance, and selflessness, and is intended for an industry professional who has achieved distinction working for the betterment of the plastics industry and of this association. The recipient of this award is chosen by our board of directors, a group of peers who clearly selected Tad based on his emulation of these exact characteristics. I can think of no one who deserves this award more. Please join me in congratulating Mr. Tad McGuire, this year's recipient of the William R. Carto Award.
Thank you very much, Matt. I can't tell you how excited I am to be here tonight, kicking off NP 2024 with this dinner and sharing the stage with just an awesome class of inductees. I congratulate you all, and I'm looking forward to hearing your stories as we go on tonight. As Matt said, my story with plastics began in 1982. While I was still at the University of Chicago, my father called me up and asked me to attend a components division meeting of what was then the SPI. And I worked my first NP that summer. And I've always been drawn to the science, the technology, and the people that drive our industry. I'm thankful for the path that led me here, and it's been quite a journey. Not surprisingly, I have a quick Bill Carteau story, and it involves golf. Several years ago, Bill and I had the opportunity to play golf with Hall of Fame quarterback Terry Bradshaw and his brother. We get to the first tee, shake hands, introduce each other, and Terry was very gracious, but he says, "Look, fellas, I'm here with my brother. We'd just like to play some golf. I'd like to visit with him. So if we can dispense with all the autograph and photo-taking stuff, I'd really appreciate it." Bill and I, of course, said, "No problem." But Bill took this as a challenge, right? So pretty soon it was, "Hey, Terry, nice putt," right? "Hey, Terry, that is great tempo. What a drive. Holy cow," right? So by the time we get to the ninth hole, they're high-fiving each other. By the time we get to 14, it's fist pumps with explode, right? By the time we walk off of 18, it's bro hugs, autographs, photos everywhere. It was terrific, right? But that was Bill, right? Bill had the charisma and the leadership skills, which he used to build relationships and networks. And why this is important to me is that he used those skills to mentor, as Matt said, and create opportunities. He created opportunities for me, and I know he created opportunities for many of the people in this room. For that, I'm grateful for the impact he had on my life, and humbled and thankful for this award. So thank you guys very much for that. I'm really thrilled with where the association is right now. We've been through a lot, as Matt said. It was a challenging couple of years. I think the old statement that may your times be interesting is overrated, because it was complicated. Regardless, I'm proud of where we are as an organization right now. More importantly, I'm proud of what we stand for. With that, a couple of thank yous. I'd like to thank Matt and the team he has built at Plastics. It's a true team of professionals that do great for us every day, and I appreciate their efforts. I'd like to thank Helen Lespierre, who's out here, who I've worked with for 46 years. And when I was out doing plastics-related stuff, she picked up all the load at Industrial Heater Company, and I'm grateful for that. I'd also like to show a deep appreciation to the officers of Plastics, who gave me their trust, their time, and more importantly, their friendship. So thank you guys very much for that. And lastly, I want to thank my extraordinary wife for her encouragement, her strength, and unconditional love. She's been a true champion for me, and I'm grateful for that. So thank you all very much. Thank you, sir.
The Plastics Hall of Fame's mission is to identify and honor individuals whose innovations and leadership have advanced the plastic industry and provided valuable solutions to societal needs. Selecting an individual for membership in the Plastics Hall of Fame is a restatement of one's lifetime work. Among the criteria for this award, we consider the following: a significant invention or breakthrough, the development of an outstanding product, market, or business endeavor, long and valuable service to the industry, a record of constructive collaboration with government, regulatory, academic, trade, or other industry groups. The class of 2024 members pioneered processes to reduce emissions that became recognized by the EPA as the best available control technology, earned 47 patents, and survived imprisonment in a concentration camp during World War II, commercialized titanium and organic catalysts, developed a new theory that allows die designers to predict shape changes in extrusion on non-circular products, established the Society of Plastics Industry in 1937, used polymeric nanofibers, resulting in many products that improve human health, invented cellophane in 1908, pioneered major new families of catalysts, combined polymerization reaction engineering with polymer processing, launched new businesses and product lines, each recognized as technology leaders in their fields, provides technology and business assessments for private equity, venture capital, and startups, transformed apparel and furniture production, sign making, prescription eyeglass fabrication, commercial printing, and electronic product manufacturing, linked the metallocene catalyst technology with material science, process technology, and marketing for new product innovations, designed revolutionary plastic products for operating rooms, played a pivotal role in educating and inspiring thousands of students, many of whom are now leaders in their field, led the way in designing and producing a 5-layer co-extrusion line for blown film applications, and pioneered ideas that push the limits of injection molds. This class has published thousands of books or industry articles and received hundreds of patents. Join us in welcoming our 17 new members into the Plastics Hall of Fame.
Now I have the privilege of introducing you to Vince Withrop, our class of 2021, and the Hall of Fame's Vice President, to share with you how our nomination process worked. Vince? You're up.
Holy cow. Thanks, Maureen. I'm Vince Withrop, so it says here. Our first nominating committee meeting was held in April of 2022. 9 volunteers met once a month for 1 hour, and we drafted the nominating and voting processes using historical memory and creative thinking. We created a nomination form, a score sheet, folders for nominees, data, and ballots. Our deadline for the class of 2024 nominees was October 1st. We received 58 nominations. All nominees were strong and worthy of induction. The living members of Hall of Fame reviewed every candidate honored tonight. Our inductees have met or exceeded the criteria for induction, and our thanks goes out to everyone who participated in the process. We announced the class of 2024 on February 1st, and now we are here ready to celebrate each individual and their accomplishments. Let's jump right into the first inductee, Rainier Armbruster, who was nominated by Dr. Jillian Schild and Dr. Simon Wuschbach. I probably screwed that last name up. He is sponsored by Barnes Molding Solutions.
Rainier Armbruster is known as the world's most innovative mold maker. He pioneered the idea and development of cube molds, an automated process for injection molding that improves quality, delivers tremendous cost savings, and shortens cycle times. His innovations now enable the plastics industry to manufacture complex, multi-piece injection molded components in fewer steps and in less space. Armbruster has been working for Foboha in Germany for 50 years. Barnes Molding Solutions is proud to sponsor the induction of Rainier Armbruster.
Dear Ms. Steinwall, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you very much for nominating me to the Plastic Hall of Fame. It was a great surprise and a good reason to make the journey from Germany to Florida. I'm very proud to be a member of this organization along with many other smart and innovative people. I would like to thank the Barnes Molding Solution team. he nominated me for this great award. Thank you all our customers who have placed their trust in me and decided to use Verbora Cube technology. We have implemented countless projects together since its birth in 1997. A technology like this requires the best machines. So I would like to thank our long-standing partners, Ferromatic and Arborg. They have built the necessary machines for us to be able to establish this special technology on the market. A very special thank goes to my former employees who have always supported me and helped me to implement my ideas. I have been associated with Verbora for most of my professional career, a total of 47 years. First 5 years I worked as a toolmaker, then I was technical plant manager for 17 years. This was followed by 20 years as a managing director of Verbora Germany and Verbora China. Even in the many years as a manager with strategic responsibility for a constantly growing company, I have never lost touch with the workshop. I have stayed as a man of practice, and I have remained a passionate and innovative toolmaker at heart. That's why I've been working as a consultant for Barnes Molding Solutions since 5 years. I could have retired, but toolmaking keeps me young. Finally, I would like to thank one person in particular who has made a huge contribution for this success. For the first 23 years of my career at Verbora, I worked with Werner Bodmer, the founder of the company. Our collaboration was always characterized by great trust. Werner gave me a lot of freedom, decision-making, power, and the necessary framework for innovation and bold steps that have had a significant impact on the industry. The most important result of this is the Verbora Cube technology. Ladies and gentlemen, I now wish all of us a pleasant evening. Thank you very much.
Our next nominee is Luigi Bandera, nominated by Mattia Gambarotto and sponsored by Bandera Extrusions Intelligence. Accepting an award for his grandfather is Luigi Bandera.
Luigi Bandera began the history of plastic extrusion in Italy during World War II, when he invented the first screw extruder for PVC pipes. The company he founded became a global leader in the design and manufacture of complete lines for extruding plastic materials for a variety of industries. Bandera is remembered for his unique personality and charismatic leadership style, and he was famous for his philanthropy and charity work. Bandera Extrusion Intelligence is proud to sponsor the induction of Luigi Bandera.
So, good evening, everybody. First thing first, I would like to thank the Plastic Association and Plastic Hall of Fame for this recognition, which fills me and my whole family with pride. Luigi, my grandfather, was a person who believed a lot in his collaborators. This, in fact, was actually the factor that allowed the company to grow and project it into the current situation, a successful one. People have always been considered much more than resources, but as a part of a family and treated through a true empathic relationship with each one of them. To confirm this, Luigi has always believed that the driving force of our company was the human resources. For this reason, people were at the center of every project, put in a position of express themselves freely and without fear of making mistakes, because making mistakes is the right way to find the correct path. Therefore, in the error implies a great reaction in people to find an useful solution that can lead to a significant innovation. From this assumption, further benefits arise: the ability to adapt and change one's skills. People inclined to think out of the box will be predisposed to grasp and change strategy when necessary, always remaining in step with the times. I conclude with an expression that always has characterized the way of thinking of Luigi. The essential asset held by my company is the people working here and their expertise. So thank you very much for attending.
Our next inductee, Dr. Joseph Biesenberger, is nominated by Charles Martin and sponsored by T.W. Womer and Associates. Jeffrey Biesenberger is accepting the award for his father.
Dr. Joseph Biesenberger was best known as the founder of the Polymer Processing Institute at Stevens Institute of Technology in Hoboken, New Jersey. But he was also recognized as the world's top expert on polymer devolatilization and for creating the field of reactive polymer processing. As a professor at Stevens, he mentored thousands of engineering students that populate the plastics industry today. T.W. Womer and Associates, LLC, is proud to sponsor the induction of Dr. Joseph Biesenberger.
Thank you very much. My name is Jeff Biesenberger. I'm one of Joe's sons, and along with my wife Sandy and my brother Michael, we're very proud to accept this honor on behalf of my father. It's wonderful to see so many of his longtime friends, colleagues, and students here tonight, and we look ahead to the NPE. There are many people my dad loved and admired in this room, so it feels a little like walking into an Antec when I was a recent graduate and he was moderating a session. I know he would be overwhelmed and humbled by this award. You see, my dad was just doing what he loved. He never left the house to go to work. It was a passion that made him commute to Hoboken, and he was just setting out on a new adventure. I never did get the full story of how he chose the field of polymers. Apparently, there was this wise neighbor who made a pitch for plastics, but it was 10 years before The Graduate was even written, so I don't know how he got the idea. Speaking of graduates, he did his undergraduate work at Newark College of Engineering, graduating in 1957. And then, much to his in-laws' chagrin, he decided to pursue continued education at Princeton University, earning his master's in 1959 and his PhD in 1963. He completed his postdoctoral work in Italy under the tutelage of fellow Plastics Hall of Famer Dr. Giulio Natta, a Nobel laureate working with Montecatini, who in the 1950s had co-pioneered the catalyst to unlock the doors to economically produced polypropylene and high-density polyethylene. Upon returning to the U.S., my family built a homestead in Wayne, New Jersey, and Joe joined the faculty of Stevens Institute of Technology as an assistant professor in the Department of Chemistry and Chemical Engineering, where he had a distinguished and professional career. He was appointed associate professor in '68 and full professor in 1971. That same year, he followed his mentor, Professor Luigi Pollara, as department head. And during his 1971 to 1979 tenure as head of the department, he succeeded in developing and establishing the polymer and chemical engineering programs to an internationally accredited status. He also consulted for industry. In 1982, he co-founded with Professor Pollara and Kostas Gogos the Polymer Processing Institute at Stevens, an independent, not-for-profit industrial research corporation, now with extensive laboratory facilities and operations at NJIT. He served as president of PPI from 1989 to 1995 and truly served as an incubator, and he built teams that would bring polymer producers and machinery builders together to advance polymer science. Perhaps his most important contribution was the creation of the field of reactive polymer processing, the result of his combining polymerization reaction engineering with polymer processing. And he co-authored a book with Donald Sebastian on the principles of polymerization engineering. He was elected fellow of the American Institute of Chemical Engineers and of the Society of Plastics Engineers, whose extrusion division has awarded him posthumously their highest honor, the Outstanding Achievement Award. Above all, my father was a man of principle and brevity, preferring to deliver information unvarnished. To celebrate Joe, we must celebrate his wife, Erna, my mother, who married him for 42 years previously, and before Joe unfortunately succumbed to cancer in 1998. Since the announcements of my dad's election to the Plastics Hall of Fame, my family and I have been touched by so many of your wonderful memories about him. One friend told me Joe had been one of his top 3 influencers, and the truth is that both he and my father are in my top 3. So thank you for remembering Joe this evening and his contributions to the field. Thank you to the Plastics Hall of Fame, and I know my dad would be truly honored by this award.
Our next inductee is Michael Cood, nominated by Tim Woolmer and sponsored by Plastics. Accepting the award for his brother is Jay Cood.
J. Michael Cood was a driving force in the medical plastics industry for more than 40 years. Cood's direct interaction with customers produced numerous medical device innovations. He designed revolutionary plastic products using a design for manufacturability approach and led the startup and operation of 9 medical plastics manufacturing plants in 3 countries. He also consulted with his clients on potential acquisitions. Cood holds 19 patents. Plastics is proud to sponsor the induction of J. Michael Cood.
Good evening. I'm certainly pleased to be here tonight to accept this award on behalf of my brother, Mike. We were in business for almost 35 years. People marveled at how well we worked together. The secret was simple, and many of you know this. We were totally different. In fact, many of our closest friends still believe we were mixed up in the hospital somehow. Mike was fond of saying that he took care of the back while I took care of the front. And there was a lot of truth to that. I had no interest or ability to do what Mike did, and he was more than happy to let me handle all that other stuff. You know, selling product, collecting money, all that stuff. Mike was also fond of telling people, my brother and I have a great relationship. I spend the money, and he signs the checks. We were frequently introduced as brothers when we traveled together. Mike was always quick to take advantage of that. Hi, I'm Mike. I'm the good-looking, smart brother. This is Jay. So yes, in many respects, Mike and I made a great team. But Mike was our secret weapon in our business. He could gown up, go into the cath lab, CT, operating room, talk to the doctors, nurses, very casually and effectively. He was familiar with medical procedures, could identify solutions to problems and opportunities for improvement. Those ideas frequently got translated onto a classic back of a barroom napkin, but he would then convert that into a final product design. Mike would go on to design the molds and even supervise the build. He'd go to the first samplings and handle the initial setups himself. Back at the plant, Mike always was involved in the optimization of the molding process. He was intimately involved in the development of our assembly automation and designed our sterile packaging up to and including the thermoform dies. Mike truly had a holistic view of the process from concept to finished medical device. The rest of us handled the other stuff. He was our secret weapon. This one's for you, bro.
Joseph Gerber, nominated by David Gerber and sponsored by Kendrick's Petrochemical Incorporated, is our next inductee. David Gerber will be accepting the award for his father.
Joseph Gerber was an inventor of industries. His company's innovative uses of plastics transformed apparel manufacturing, sign making, prescription eyeglass fabrication, commercial printing, and electronic products manufacturing. These advancements fostered a revolution in consumer and industrial products. His company became the world leader in innovations that enabled mass customization for many industries. He was the founder and CEO of Gerber Scientific and had 648 patents issued in his name. Kenrick Petrochemical Inc. is proud to sponsor the induction of H. Joseph Gerber.
Thank you. This is a wonderful honor in memory of my dad. He once told me that he started his company so that he could invent. He was the kind of person who would bring a vat of silly putty home from the office so he could boil it, bake it, fry it, until he ruined my mom's pots and pans. He was also very creatively analytical, very hardworking. He came to America as a refugee in 1940, fatherless and penniless, and built the company. And he'd be the first one to tell you that the accomplishments of the company were his, but they were also a wonderful team that he assembled. He and his team created many whole new industries based mainly on inventing electromechanical systems. In each industry, however, a novel use of plastics was essential to an enabling invention. Thus, my dad's career and success testifies to the importance of your work to the creation of so many industries not normally associated with plastics. The clothes you're wearing, they were made with a process that was enabled by plastic bristles. The circuitry in your electronics products was automated because of a novel use of plastics that enabled a whole new computerized manufacturing process. On behalf of my family, I offer congratulations to all the inductees and great thanks to the Plastics Hall of Fame and our sponsor, Kenrick, and to Maureen and her team for this lovely event. Thank you.
Let's pause for a moment from the induction excitement and talk about something a little bit new this year. This year, the induction of an industry giant who provided foundational leadership or innovations and yet were not inducted in a timely manner. Our research team of Norm Fowler, Sue Steinwald, and Marie dug into the historical books, the Syracuse Library, and Wikipedia to identify individuals that might match the Hall of Fame criteria. 15 names underwent vetting, including voting by the living Hall of Fame members. I'm proud to introduce our first historical inductee, Arthur Eichengrund, sponsored by Rolls-Royce Global.
Dr. Arthur Eichengrund was a Jewish chemist, material scientist, and inventor who began his career in 1896 with Bayer & Company in Germany and is known for co-discovering aspirin. Eichengrund co-developed cellulose acetate film and invented the first process for its production, which he patented with Theodore Becker in 1903. The film soon became the standard in the motion picture industry. Eichengrund left Bayer in 1908 and started his own lab and manufacturing plant called Cell on Work. There, he advanced the science of injection molding by developing the first injection molding press in 1919. He developed a type of flame-resistant plastic called Cellon, which was in great demand during World War I for pilots' goggles and soldiers' gas masks. In 1939, Eichengrund invented the process of injection molding plasticized cellulose acetate. The industry expanded rapidly in the 1940s to meet the huge need created by World War II for inexpensive, mass-produced products. Nazis forced Eichengrund to sell his company and later imprisoned him. He was liberated from a concentration camp by Soviet troops in 1945 and returned to Berlin to continue his scientific work in private. Eichengrund held 47 patents. Royce Global is proud to sponsor the induction of Dr. Arthur Eichengrund.
I'm back. I want to introduce the chairs of our committees on stage with me now. I have Donna Davis, class of 2018. Chairs of the Communication Committee, Wiley Royce, class of 2021. Chair of the Events Committee, Jim Caleri, and the chairs of the Nominating Committee. We are proud of our volunteers and consultants who've given their time, treasures of keep the Plastics Hall of Fame vibrant. And I just want to add, this isn't in a script, but after Jay Gardner passed away, we had no digital documentation. Months before Jay passed, at the time I was the secretary of the Academy, Plastics Academy, and I asked Jay, do you have anything? And he says, I have the bylaws from 2004. Because John Kretschmeyer hired it down to Jay, Jay took over and basically ran it himself. So it took us, with Maureen's persistence, we had to form a whole new Delaware corporation. We formed our committees that we never had before. And we now have a very, very strong Plastics Hall of Fame. And it's the work of all these volunteers that spend hours. Vince and I and Maureen, every week, on Wednesday at 11 o'clock, we have a committee meeting with one of the committees. And it's just hard effort of us wanting to keep the Hall of Fame alive. That's why we're here tonight. And my hat goes off to Maureen and the rest of the people that have been involved in this. So with that, that's enough of me, and Wiley's in charge.
Thank you, Tim. Thanks. And I just want to correct one thing that Tim said about the volunteers. For all of you that know Maureen, we were pretty much voluntold. just saying. I stole that from Danielle. But anyway, I'm Wiley Royce. Serving me on the event committee are Vice Chair Danielle Fresca, Paul Augustowski, Wendy Honig, Chris Perillo, and John Ratzlaff, and they all do a wonderful job. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Donna Davis, and I'm delighted to recognize the efforts of the Communication Committee. Our Vice Chair is Fred Danielle. We get excellent support and advice from Don Lepp, from Plastics News, from Bob Grace from Plastics Engineering Magazine, and from Sal Monti, the class of 2021. Thank you guys for all of your effort.
Good evening, I'm Jim Colari. Serving with me on the nominating committee are Vice Chair Norm Fowler, Gunther Hoyt, class of 2012, Bill Humphrey, Jim Murphy, and Hideo Tanaka, class of 2018. It's been a terrific experience serving with you wonderful people. Thank you very much. And now it's time to introduce our next 5 inductees. Let's start with Arthur Haig, nominated by Dr. Nick Schott and sponsored by Nutrex. Accepting the award for his father is John Haig.
Arthur P. Haig was the titanium man of the plastics materials industry. His 70-year career included leadership creating specialty chemicals for the plastics manufacturing industry, and later, the plastics molding industry. After a distinguished career with Dart Industries and Phillips Petroleum, Haig invented Purge-X purging compounds and founded Nutrex to market his product globally. Haig loved the plastics business so much, he never retired and was still working in 2022 at age 93. Nutrex is proud to sponsor the induction of Arthur P. Haig.
This is a very special and emotional evening for me. I'm John R. Haig, the first son of Arthur P. Haig. On behalf of my father, I am honored to thank some special people. First, Arthur's parents. Heinrich Haig was a mechanical engineer who survived the trenches of World War I and brought the family to this great country from rural Bavaria. Arthur was the first Haig born in America. From his father, Arthur inherited fascination with technology and charisma, which engendered loyalty. From his mother, Johanna, who was a great cook, Arthur inherited a passion for inventing recipes, including both food in the kitchen and chemicals in the laboratory. Second, the teachers and friends Arthur had in Chicago and Milwaukee, at the University of Wisconsin, and in the United States Marine Corps. Third, my mother Shirley, who was Arthur's first wife. She held down the fort, raising 3 kids, including a severely handicapped baby, thereby enabling my father to follow his dreams and build his first chemical company. Fourth, Meyer Weiner, who co-invented methods for manufacturing titanium catalysts with Arthur. Fifth, the folks at PureChem and Aztec Chemicals in Richmond, California, Elyria, Ohio, and Bayport, Texas, who helped Arthur produce powerful titanium, magnesium, and organic catalysts for the plastics industry. Sixth, Dart Industries and Phillips Petroleum, and especially H.T. Sears, the top Phillips executive who characterized Arthur as the king of catalysts. Seventh, Arthur's second wife, Joanne. After Arthur briefly retired, she supported his renewed entrepreneurial spirit, which included co-founding several risky ventures. At age 63, Arthur commenced his second career in plastics. In his backyard, he invented Purge-X, founded Nutrex, and became a leading advocate for the use of purging compounds to improve molding. Eighth, the folks at Nutrex who helped Arthur achieve his most successful venture. Arthur had wanderlust, and his yearn for exploration motivated his desire to market Purge-X around the world. This led to 2 presidential awards for exporting excellence and a private meeting with George W. Bush in the Oval Office, where they discussed their love for Scottish Terriers. Ninth, to everyone who supported Arthur's election to this hall. 12 years ago, Arthur told me this was his greatest aspiration. Finally, my brothers and sisters, Randy, Ken, Kathleen, and Mary, they were always in Dad's corner during his amazing plastics career. Arthur loved traveling the world wearing hats covered with Hard Rock Cafe pins. He loved history and science. He loved his dogs, including Heidi, Curly, and Jojo. And he loved the plastics business so much, he never retired. Thank you very much, everybody, and thank you, Plastics Hall of Fame.
Wonderful acceptance speech. Thank you, John. I'm delighted to introduce our next inductee. She's Wendy Honig, nominated by Dr. Maureen Steinwall and sponsored by H&H Business Development and Dow. Wendy.
Wendy Honig is a results-oriented global business and technology leader. Her direction, mentorship, and ability to choose winning technologies made major contributions to the plastics industry during her tenure at Dow Chemical Company. She later founded H&H Business Development to provide technology and business assessments for private equity, venture capital, and startups. Wendy Honig holds 15 U.S. patents and has been published in more than 20 industry publications. H&H Business Development and Dow are proud to sponsor the induction of Wendy Honig.
Thank you, and good evening. I am so very, very honored and humbled to be elected into the Plastics Hall of Fame. I know so many of you have come before me, and I've been great friends through the PPA and other organizations. But thanks so much to the nomination committee, to Maureen, my sponsors, Tim and Kurt out there somewhere, and the Hall of Fame members for your support. It means so much to me. I've had many roles over the years, from corporate technology and business leadership to entrepreneurial startups and private equity. But my favorite part of all of that is driving innovation and new business at that intersection of technology and business value creation. So I love playing in that intersection space. And it was such a pleasure being involved at the very beginning of the metallocene revolution. We really changed the polyolefins industry. And now the polyolefins compete with higher performance polymers. And I was privileged to be on the first marketing team. I was given an opportunity to jump from R&D to marketing and participate in some of the first positioning from packaging, automotive, and medical. And those applications are still making much, much money out there in the industry today, and I'm very proud of that. But developing and commercializing those families of technologies, which included things like Affinity and Engage and Infuse. And I brought this here tonight. This was one of the first commercial applications, first commercial productions of Infuse back in 2007. And all of you guys may recognize the pellets that are in there. But most importantly, this represents teamwork to me. The teams and the people that I worked with, I would not be standing here tonight without all of those people helping to invent, develop, and commercialize all of these technologies. And the most important team to me tonight is here with me, my family at table 13, lucky 13 back there. Their love and support mean the world to me. My dad and Marilyn are here. Dad's a chemist, worked for Dow as well for many years, so I grew up in a Dow family. I learned the power of math and science, and I was hooked from the very beginning. My mom was a serial entrepreneur, and I grew up working in her businesses. And I know she's looking down on me tonight, being very proud. And they instilled hard work and discipline, and that's what it took for all of us to be successful in industry. And I hear that as a theme tonight across everyone, hard work and discipline. My brother and sister-in-law, Christy and Lynn, they're both here, and they've always been there to support me. My husband, my heart, has always been there. He's also a chemist. I think I have a thing for chemists. He worked for Dow as well, and he's one of my biggest supporters, and I could not be here without your support. And lastly, my kids are also my heart, and they're here tonight as well. Thanks to Sarah and Casey and Seth for being here to celebrate with us tonight. Wish we could have had it, Kurt and Adair as well. But thank you all so much. I'm very, very proud to be here. Yeah.
Cut the music. Our next inductee is Dr. Walter Kaminsky, nominated by Dr. Steve Chum and sponsored by Dow.
In the early 1980s, Professor Dr. Walter Kaminsky discovered revolutionary catalysts that are now used by every polyolefin producer on the planet. One of the most active scientists in the field of polymer science, Professor Kaminsky has published over 450 papers and patents and ranks among the top chemical engineering faculty members in the world. Kaminsky's recent work focused on technologies that recycle plastic wastes into oil and gas. Dow is proud to sponsor the induction of Dr. Walter Kaminsky.
It is a great pleasure for me to be introduced here in the Plastics Hall of Fame. And I have to thank special Steve Chong for inviting me to do this. And another point is I have to thank also my students. Over the whole time they worked really hard in the research field at the University of Hamburg. And only by their results, results came out that we have this new field of metallocene catalysis. And I thank also my wife, which has held me free for all the time to be in the institute up to the late evening. And you know, only if you work hard also in this field, some new things can happen. So we find this result of this special catalyst. And I'm very happy also that Dow is sponsoring my research over a long time, and also now here this Plastics Hall of Fame. And I must say, they invited also my son and his wife, who is here. So this is a happy situation for me. And to come back a little to the research field, at the last point, I like to say something about recycling. When we formed up a new institute at the University of Hamburg, it is 45 years ago, I thought we have to do not to produce only new polyolefins by metallocene catalysts, but we must think also on the recycling. And so there was a next step to look what is the possibility. And the possibility we saw was to use mixed and dirty plastics. You have to make pyrolysis. And the heating system is the biggest question in that field. And so we use the fluidized bed process for this. And now I see that this happens, and this is very important for the plastics industry in the future, to make a good image. The image has to be removed in that field. So there's something which have to be done, and I see that it happens. And I'm very happy also that the second research field of mine now came up in a very good way. So thank you very much for your attention.
Our next inductee is Dr. Chihiro Kanagawa, nominated by Hideki Tanaka and sponsored by Shinetsu Chemical Company Limited. Accepting the award is Irv Schroeder, a retired vice president of Shintech and an advisor with the company.
Dr. Chihiro Kanagawa was a champion of polyvinyl chloride, or PVC. He was the founder of Shintech Inc., which is now the world's largest manufacturer of PVC. Shintech was purchased by Shin-Etsu Chemical of Japan, where Kanagawa advanced to become its president and chairman. Dr. Kanagawa dedicated his career to developing and promoting PVC's excellent properties and to preserving the global environment. Shin-Etsu Chemical Company Limited is proud to sponsor the induction of Dr. Chihiro Kanagawa.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here this evening on behalf of Dr. Kanagawa. Unfortunately, his son, Shinichiro Kanagawa, had to cancel his plans to be here this evening. Kanagawa had a long life. He was born back in 1927 and passed away just last year at the age of 96. As it was noted, he began his career with Shin-Etsu in International Division to expand international business. He developed Shintech as a joint venture with an American company to produce PVC plastics in Freeport, Texas. He felt, as was noted, that PVC was good for society and demand would grow. Most importantly, he was an innovator in management. He developed a unique, practical management system that created Shintech to be a highly efficient company. In fact, in benchmarking, often Shintech was achieving comparable results to competitors with 1/3 less staff. This enabled Shintech to operate at full capacity and full sales, even during difficult economic climate. This was most important because it gave employees a job security. Shintech has never had a layoff or restructuring in the 50 years that it's been in operation. Shintech completed several large expansions and, as was noted, became the global leader in PVC production. I might add, while Shintech was not an extremely large corporation, on several occasions it was the 9th largest exporter in the United States. Kanagawa was appointed president of Shin-Etsu, I should say, during a difficult time in 1990. It was the collapse of the bubble economy in Japan. He built a strong corporate structure so that Shin-Etsu could survive even during a recession. He increased Shin-Etsu's business and for 15 consecutive years had increases in profits, but largely based on the principles of management that he had developed while at Shintech. While chairman of Shin-Etsu, he also became chairman of the Vinyl VEC, the Vinyl Environmental Council in Japan, which was created to spread the benefits of PVC and create growth. He was always very cognizant of the importance of safety, quality, environmental measures, and contributions to the local community. On a number of occasions while I was in Freeport, Texas. He was one of the first supporters of a cancer care center, Boy Scouts, support of education. He always felt that his most important responsibility was to the employees, their families, and their happiness. We could always count on him whenever help was needed. So I'm pleased that I'm here this evening to present the Hall of Fame on behalf of Dr. Kanagawa. Thank you.
Our next inductee is Dr. Cato Lorenzen, nominated by Dr. Lu-Yi Sun and sponsored by the University of Connecticut Foundation.
Dr. Cato Lorenzen is a brilliant engineer, surgeon, and leader whose groundbreaking discoveries in plastics, nanotechnology, biomedical engineering, and surgery have benefited millions of patients worldwide. He's created breakthrough technologies that have led the industry. He pioneered the development of bioengineered polymer fiber matrices for the regeneration of ligaments and created polymer ceramics for a whole host of clinical applications in musculoskeletal repair. Grounded in basic engineering and dedicated to improving human health, Dr. Lorenzen epitomizes using engineering, science, and technology to benefit humanity. The University of Connecticut Foundation is proud to sponsor the induction of Dr. Cato Lorenzen.
Congratulations, Doctor. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. It's really an honor to be inducted into the Plastics Hall of Fame. I think I'm the first National Medal of Technology and Innovation individual to be inducted, and so very, very proud of that. I just want to take less than 3 minutes to thank really three groups of people. First, my wife, my dear wife who's here, Cynthia Lorenzen, and also my children. All of them are scientists who have the engineering gene, one has the medical gene, but they're all working deeply in science, and we're oh so proud of them and what they've done. The second are my mentors and sponsors. The Lorenzen definition of a mentor is someone that shows you the way, shows you the door. The Lorenzen definition of a sponsor is someone who kicks down that door to open it up so you can get there. And all these individuals I've met in my life have been mentors and sponsors. They've shown me the way, and they've moved it forward. From Professor Ernest Johnson, who I met my freshman year at Princeton in chemical engineering, who introduced me to people at DuPont and Roman Haas, had my first internships in polymer science there. To Robert Langer, I did my PhD with him, who taught me the value of entrepreneurship and patents, and really helped me in terms of working as a scientist, clinician, engineer, and entrepreneur. To also Dr. Henry Mencken, who allowed me to start my residency in orthopedic surgery, but join the faculty at MIT at the same time. And I was a 20-something-year-old kid, and I know it was a big risk for him to let me do both. And also Professor Harry Alcock. I called him when I was a second-year grad student. He was the Evan Pugh professor at Penn State, and I said, I think I'd like to collaborate with you. I respect your work. And he didn't hang up on me. He said, okay, I'll collaborate with a second-year grad student from MIT. So all these people have been important. The third group really is about my philosophy. I just published my autobiography. It was published by Elsevier, and it's called Success is What You Leave Behind. And while these groups have been important, also, I have to say it's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and wherever finer books are sold. My publisher makes me say that. The most important group are the people who are my students, and I've been blessed to have generations of students who have been working with me. Four of my students are now faculty members with me. They've been with me for about 80 years combined in terms of from being grad students to fellows to being professors. But also we have a whole host of hundreds of students who are now doing well, and also new students that are there. And so this honor, this induction, is really dedicated to this next generation, these students who have followed me and continue to follow me. And I think, again, in terms of my book, while these awards are great, true success is not what you do, but what you leave behind. Thank you.
I'm proud now to introduce our second historical inductee, Jacques Brandenberger, sponsored by Vince Witherup.
Jacques Brandenberger was a Swiss chemist and textile engineer who in 1908 became the inventor of cellophane. He originally intended it as a coating to make cloth stain resistant, but the resulting fabric was too stiff and the coating easily separated from the backing cloth, producing a thin, transparent film. Brandenberger abandoned his original idea when he realized the potential for the new material and named it cellophane. His thin, transparent film did not allow bacteria, water, greases, air, and oil to pass through. It revolutionized food packaging, allowing people to see how it looked without sacrificing hygiene or freshness. He designed equipment for large-scale production and patented the machinery and processes. Industrial production of cellophane started in 1920 and has never stopped. For years after World War I, cellophane was the only flexible, transparent plastic film used for common items like food wrap and adhesive tape. In 1923, Brandenberger's company sold U.S. rights to DuPont, where it became a world-famous brand and a landmark product of the plastics industry. Brandenberger earned the Franklin Institute's Elliott Cresson Gold Medal in 1937. Vince Witherup is proud to sponsor the induction of Dr. Jacques Brandenberger.
Where'd everybody go? I want to introduce the vice chairs of our committees on stage. Soon. They are Fred Daniel. Fred is the vice chair of the Communication Committee. Danielle Fresca is vice chairman of the Event Committee. And Norm Fowler, who is the vice chairman of the Nominating Committee. And at this point, I would like to hand the podium to Norm to announce the remaining inductees.
Thank you, Jim. Our next inductee is Wolfgang Meyer, nominated by Gunther Hoyt and sponsored by Beckham.
Wolfgang Meyer is a German mechanical engineer who served as the president for North American subsidiaries of 3 leading German equipment manufacturers. In each case, Meyer was the key force that led to their ability to successfully adapt to new markets and introduce their technologies. As principal of Plastics Business Consultants, Meyer shares his more than a half-century of plastics industry experience. Beckham is proud to sponsor the induction of Wolfgang Meyer.
Good evening. Thank you, Plastics Hall of Fame. Thank you, Gunther and Steve London, for nominating me. Thank you to the nominating committee and voting members for voting me in as a member of the Plastics Hall of Fame. And thank you, Beckham, for sponsoring this event tonight. And also thank you, Maureen, for guiding this class through the preparations for this evening. It's a tremendous job, I understand, and I'm honored to be a member of the class of 2024. During my 54 years working in plastics,
I met many people, customers, suppliers, co-workers, competitors, and others. Some became friends and still are my friends. I would like to thank all of them tonight for having worked with me. My career would not have been the same without their confidence and trust in me. Last but not least, I need to thank my wife Inge for her love during our 52 years of marriage. She supported me during good and challenging times and raised our daughter Melanie almost single-handedly. Inge could not be here tonight, but Melanie joined me instead of her. Melanie, Mom and I are very proud of you having a successful career of your own, even if it's not in plastics. Thank you to those I have missed mentioning, and thank you to my fellow inductees. Thank you.
Our next nominee is Chris Rollendahl, nominated by Jim Kalari and sponsored by Plastics Technology.
Dr. Chris Rollendahl has worked in plastic extrusion for more than 50 years, inventing new technologies and processes that significantly advance the industry. Rollendahl has taught seminars on extrusion and related topics to thousands of people in the U.S. and 22 other countries throughout the world. He made significant contributions to extrusion theory and brought about major developments in extrusion technology. Plastics Technology is proud to sponsor the induction of Dr. Chris Rollendahl.
I'm very happy to be here. I'm very pleased with this great honor. So I want to thank the Plastics Hall of Fame for giving me this honor, in particular Jim Kalari for sponsoring me. I've worked with Jim for many, many years, and it's been a very, very pleasant cooperation. Also want to thank Maureen Steinwall for guiding this process. I would like to start actually in thanking my wife, Sietske. She's been my wife for almost 51 years and has been very, very supportive of all the work I've done. Has been working with me for quite a few years until about 3 years ago. She said, I've had enough. I haven't had enough, so I'm still working because I still enjoy it. But I very much appreciate all the work that Sietske has done in building the business. She's been incredibly supportive, and also I appreciate her honesty, her outspokenness. She is also from the Netherlands, as I am. And she's really made me a better person, and that's not been an easy task. I can tell you that, and she can tell you that. I feel very fortunate that I've been working as an engineer my entire career, and I've enjoyed pretty much all of it. I still enjoy working as an engineer. I love engineering, I love science, and I'm still passionate about what I do. I still get excited about the projects I work on. And it's wonderful to feel that way. Like if you enjoy what you're doing, it doesn't really feel like work, even though it is work, but it's really, yeah, I feel incredibly fortunate. The other thing that I really love is teaching. I've been teaching seminars for many, many years to many people. I find that very fulfilling. And I've really enjoyed doing that. I still do it. And I hope to continue doing that for many years. I do want to mention also a few people that have really had an impact on my career, and I want to start with my uncle, Roel van Salingen, in the Netherlands. He worked for AXO, and he was really instrumental in getting me in the plastics industry. I started working for American Anchor, and that's a subsidiary of AXO. A wonderful person, great example. I'm going to have to go fast. I want to mention a few more people. Professor Ingehoes. I want to thank also Jim Calleri, Professor Kirk Cantor, Giuseppe Pontelli, and Maria del Pilar Noriega. Music is getting louder, so thank you very much. I appreciate it tremendously. Thank you.
Our next inductee, is Dr. G. Victor Samet, Sr., nominated by Charles D'Amelio and sponsored by Plastics. Accepting the award is for his great-grandfather is Charles D'Amelio.
Dr. G. Victor Samet Sr. was a pioneer in the early days of plastics who gave decades of leadership and financial support to the new industry. Samet co-published the first physical chemistry education materials in the United States in 1903, and 3 years later, co-founded Northern Industrial Chemical Company in Boston. He established the Society of Plastics Industry in 1937, later renamed the Plastics Industry Association. Plastics is proud to sponsor the induction of Dr. G. Victor Samet Sr.
I'd like to begin by thanking the Hall for bestowing such an honor on my great-grandfather and our family. I have a few other people to thank, including my wife. Thanks for your help with my research and your editing. I know it's not your family. Thank you for your time and patience. I'd also like to thank my son, David, who spent hours transcribing many of the Plastic Pioneer Association tapes that uncovered some of the research, which are, if you're interested, at Syracuse and at the Smithsonian Institute. I'd like to also thank Wayne Popham of Plastics. He provided some key documents and help in my research and gave me some good museum contacts. I was hoping Glenn Beal would be here tonight. He gave me good insights and a lot of explanations and help, and he kept on telling me over the years that the story kept on getting better and better. One person I'd like to thank that really inspired Victor Samet is Dr. Noyes of MIT. He was a professor and a friend and mentor. He was the father of physical chemistry in the US. He taught plenty of technical skills to Victor Samet, but he more importantly taught and encouraged a lot of social and intellectual collaboration, sponsoring many groups and societies. He also was his best man at his wedding. It's hard for me to talk to a group like this. I can't offer you any wisdom. You're all smarter than me. You're all more accomplished, and most of you are older than me. Most of you. Well, wisdom comes with age. So I will offer some perspective, and I'm going to borrow some words from someone else who said, it's what you leave behind. I started with a blank piece of paper and some family lore, which was mostly not right. It took a decade of research, but at the end, I was able to tell his story, or at least part of it. Every document I found, I had more questions, and I still have thousands of questions, or at least 1,000 questions. I was fortunate to spend time with my father before he passed away last year, and was able to get his story, and he told it to me. And we just spent consistently 3 days a week talking about his history. I had lots of questions and follow-ups. We answered 1,000 questions. It started as an autobiography. I was going to ghostwrite it, but he felt more comfortable as a biography. In the end, it was a comprehensive story, but it was his story. And it's going to be left for future generations to enjoy and relish. So I'm going to give you some homework if you haven't already done it. Please, 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 make it easy for people like me. Grab a family member or two, answer the 1,000 questions. If you're more comfortable writing a biography, have fun, create memories, tell your story, and how you want it told. Thank you.
Okay, our next inductee, and this is my pleasure to do so, is Dr. Nick Schott. He happened to be my thesis advisor at UMass Lowell. Nominated by Bob Malloy and sponsored by the University of Massachusetts Lowell. Accepting the award tonight is Bob Malloy.
Dr. Nick R. Schott made significant contributions to the advancements of plastics technology through his pioneering teaching, research, and consultancy at University of Massachusetts Lowell. Dr. Schott helped make Lowell's Plastics Engineering Department an international leader in plastics engineering education and research. He shaped the future of the industry by cultivating a new generation of plastics engineers and scientists. University of Massachusetts Lowell is proud to sponsor the induction of Dr. Nick Schott.
Thank you, Norm. My classmate from way back when. It was really my honor to nominate Nick, and he was elated to hear that he was elected. I can't tell you how happy he was. Tim told me that he called him and couldn't believe the response he had. Unfortunately, Nick injured himself recently and couldn't make it here today, but he did send a video, and he did use the entire 3 minutes, so I'm going to end here, and as you'll see, he used his 3 minutes, so why don't we let this play, I guess.
I'm Nick Schott, and I'm greatly honored to be inducted into the Plastics Hall of Fame. I thank everybody for the support and sponsorship, and I thank all the constituents that have affected my career at UMass Lowell. This includes the students, the alumni, the faculty, the administrators, the technicians, and the professional societies, SPE, SPI, the plastics industry. I am in my 39th year as a full-time professor, in which I served 18 years as chair in our plastics engineering department. For the last 14 years, I have been a professor emeritus. I had many constraints since when I started. UMass Lowell was or is a state-funded institution, and staffing was only based on the workload. Our department was founded in 1955, and I started in 1971. In order to get more faculty and to grow, we had to expand our workload by doing continuing education. In the early days, we did off-campus courses traveling as far as 50 to 75 miles, and it was better for one professor as compared to 20 students. We also started industrial seminars and distance learning. In the late 1980s, we became a full-fledged university, and our mission statement became that we had to do research to expand the knowledge of learning, and also we started an Institute for Plastics Innovation, and we emphasized entrepreneurship, and we had about a half a dozen alum, including Mark Saab, Jim Dandino, Nick Fontes, and Tom Bazigian. And Mark Saab actually helped us start a new building when our old Research Foundation building was torn down. We are now over 1,000 alums. We have great divergence, have expanded into medical plastics, process development, process simulation, 3D printing, instrumentation development, robotics, and of course, recycling and the environment. Our future is wide open, and I thank everyone for the teamwork and diversity that has come about.
Our next inductee is Kurt Swager, nominated by Dr. Steve Chum and sponsored by Dow.
Kurt Swager was a key technology and business leader at Dow Chemical Company. His leadership brought high-throughput catalyst research to Dow, which then spread across the plastics industry. The ripple effect of his work continues to make a profound impact on our world today. He's founder and CEO of Molecular Rebar Design and currently holds more than 130 world patents. Dow is proud to sponsor the induction of Kurt Swager.
Well, thank you to everybody. When Tim Ulmer called me up, I can't exactly repeat exactly what I said, but I was surprised. And I'm very humbled and deeply appreciative. And I really want to thank Steve Chum, who's been my partner for decades. It's hard to say that anymore, but on a lot of endeavors. When this farm boy left Case Institute of Technology in '72, he had no idea that he'd be involved with 3 technology platforms. When I went down to Freeport in early '91, they told me we were going to sell half the business and merge the other half with another company. And we thought maybe an alternative was a better idea. So we picked up the Dow version of Walter's work and came up with something called Insight, which all we did was change the products, the applications, the processes, and the customers, not very much, right? So Steve, every 3 months, lets me know that basically we are the Dow Chemical Company with a profit that we have. The second technology-related platform was something called Speedbase, and I used to talk quite a bit about this. This lets you go 3 times faster with twice the result on developing and commercializing products. And that had to do with quite a bit of technology and how to get people to work together. The third area, after I retired from Dow, and if you'd have told me after I retired from Dow I had about 150 patents now, electron microscope, and working on HIV, like my wife, you'd all tell me I'm crazy. But we do. Molecular Rebar Design is about nanotechnology. We're into tires, batteries, coatings, 3D printing, injection molding, and medicine. litigation also, by the way. You're going to pick on somebody, you might as well pick on somebody. So with all that, what this award really is a reflection of all the people that have been involved in all those things. And there's people inside Dow like Steve or Steve Kropp or Jim Stevens or Che Cow. There's people like Walter or Eric Baer outside. And I do have to give a shout out to an outfit called Exxon, who gave Dow the appropriate kick in the right part of the anatomy to get us off our going. I checked, there's no Dow people here that would object to that particular thing. So with that, I really am very appreciative to all the thousands of people that made all these things happen, including my long-suffering wife and children. And I'm very humbled, and I thank you all very much for having me here and inducting me into this group. So thank you so much.
So Wiley called me the other day and he said, Maureen, I need some time in your schedule. And I said, no, you can't. This is down to the minute. I have it timed perfectly. And he said, Maureen, we need a minute or two in your schedule. So I don't know what they got planned, but this is their time.
Thanks, Maureen. I hope you all had a great time tonight. It's been, I think, a fabulous affair. And, you know, we've all been to these kinds of things in our lives. And we sort of, you know, you go there and you say, okay, well, this line was a little bit long or that and all. And it just goes on. And until I got involved in this process with Maureen and everybody else, I had no clue as to the amount of work and planning and detail that was necessary, not only for tonight, but through the nominations and the affair and the fundraising and everything. And, you know, truth be told, the person who's responsible for tonight and the Hall of Fame today is Maureen Steinwall. Her leadership, her insight, her vision for what the Hall of Fame should be and will continue to be is just unmatched by anybody that I've ever known in my life. And we felt here that she really needs to be recognized, and we wanted to get something to memorialize this for her. So, Tim, we have a plaque here for you, and if you want to read it. And it says, to Maureen Steinwall, PhD, words cannot express the gratitude we have for your vision, endless energy, and leadership on behalf of the Plastics Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Congratulations. So, and as they said, that's not all. And she has my wife Nancy to thank for this, because when I told her what our plans were, she said, what, you're gonna get her a plaque to clutter up her wall? Get her something she's really gonna like. So Vince has something more for you here, Maureen, and we hope that you enjoy it. And thank you so much for everything you've done.
But I could have had 10 minutes if I knew that's what they were doing. Hey.
You don't need this up here.
Yeah? Oh, you want to see? Oh, afterwards. I'm not sharing. Nancy picked it out. It's going to be nice. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us to this very special evening. We encourage you to visit the Plastics Hall of Fame Walk of Fame, located in the West Hall, the Innovation Stage, which is booth number 2380. I think we have a pretty special day for you when you're in the hall. The Innovation Stage will feature speakers who will introduce you to future solutions and possibility of our next generation of Hall of Fame members. I have a special call out tonight to my trusted partner in preparing all the printed and video content for this event. Chad Peterson from Integrated Marketing and Design is with us tonight, and his team produced all the awesome materials using our committee approval process and meeting crazy deadlines. Thank you, Chad. So the moment you have been waiting for, there were 48 of you that took our quiz, and of the 9 questions, the winner got 4 of them right. I was going there for a while where there was only 3, but we got somebody that got 4. So here are your answers. Both Massachusetts and New York have 21 members. The average age of the inductee at the time of induction was 81.4 years. Some of them were 192, so that kind of helps. There are 64 members that hold a doctorate degree. The materials sector has 80. The equipment sector has 43 members. The scholar sector has 27, and 44 members come from the processing sector. Several states don't have members, and we're going to have to do something about that, right? But the state that was on your list that isn't a member is North Carolina. The youngest inductee was 49 years old. The country from our list that's not a member yet is Mexico. And the drum roll, please. You like that? Thanks, band. And the winner of the extra drink tickets and the most popular person in the next 2 minutes is Dr. Lorenzen. And from my table, and he did not see the answers. So, thank you. Given that you are supporters, I would ask that you please let me know if you see any misstatements, errors, or omissions in the program or the website. We want our data to be a collective effort, so please assist in this journey. The other thing I would ask is that you take with you the chocolates and the little holder that it came in, because they make for really great business card holders. I don't want to take them home. There is a story around these chocolates that you would understand if you want to ask me. We invite you to the after party, where we encourage you to congratulate the inductees. However, if you stay too long, you will get to help us clean up the room. So I ask that you stay as long as you'd like. So nominations are open for our class of 2025. Nominations never really close, but our cutoff date for consideration for the next class is February 28th of 2025, and our next induction ceremony will be the fall of 2025. Before I thank you for attending, I have one ask. Would all of the inductees and all of the Hall of Fame members please join us on stage for a group photo before you head out the door? Okay. So thank you for attending the Plastics Hall of Fame Class of 2024 induction ceremony. Congratulations to all the inductees.